It's comical watching these online internet activists fuck around and find out what happens when Black American people withdraw their support for your cause. It's comical being anti-Black and racist toward Black American people as though almost every single right or privilege that any non-white person in the United States has isn't because of the work and the actions and the movements of Black American people. It's comical thinking that's not the case. It's comical thinking that Black Americans aren't responsible for this push to support Palestine, to support the Palestinian liberation movement, to support a ceasefire, to support a trade embargo against Israel. It's comical thinking that it's white Americans supporting that and it's not Black Americans who've been making the most noise about that. It's comical. And before you jump in my comments or stitch or duet this video saying, oh, well, there are white leftists who support Palestine. The few white leftists who support Palestine are doing it because they're playing the oppression Olympics. This is a morality game for them. And whatever cause is the most popular is the one that they vocally support the most. They're still just as Islamophobic. They're still just as xenophobic. They're still just as racist as the next person. It's extremely comical how anti-Black, and specifically anti-Black Americans, so many foreign immigrant communities are here in the United States. And I say that as a person whose family is Jamaican, who was born abroad in Jamaica, and who is now a naturalized U.S. citizen. The anti-Blackness from my own Jamaican family, who are otherwise Black by appearances, was comical. I had to school them on it real quick. But it's comical watching it come from other foreigners and watching it come from people of color. It's especially comical when you ask these super duper internet revolutionary leftists, well, in the upcoming US presidential election, what are our best options if we don't vote for Kamala Harris and Governor Wh1te from Minnesota? What other options do we have to defeat someone like Trump and get him the hell out of here permanently? Not what should be our other options, not what should be in a perfect world with more than a two-party system, not what the perfect world should look like. Here, now, in the moment, with the options and the power we have right here now, what do you suggest we do? It's comical when you ask that question, you just get blocked, you get reported, you get told that you're uninformed, you don't know what you're talking about, etc., etc. It's comical when you ask these same super duper internet leftist revolutionary armchair radicals, well, what do you have to say then to some people who've been interviewed in Gaza and Palestine who say that they hope that Kamala Harris wins the US presidential election because they know that with her in power, they stand a better chance of having a ceasefire than someone like Donald fucking Trump. And it's comical that their response to that is, well, those people in Gaza and in Palestine are uninformed. Those people currently experiencing a genocide are uninformed about the genocide they're currently experiencing. Isn't that comical? It's also comical that when you try to also use your voice to speak up for what's happening in the Congo, in the Sudan, in Haiti, in Tigray, you're told, well, no, that's not the focus right now. The focus should instead be on Palestine, and keep Palestine's name out of your mouth if you're trying to speak on other issues at once, as though we're not all human being Homo sapiens with brains that can do more things at once, and I can blink my eyes and I can talk and walk at the same time. It's comical trying to draw attention away from causes that are surrounding Black people in Africa and in the Caribbean, and instead direct our voices elsewhere. It's comical being told how we should advocate and how we should speak up. It's really comical. I really think it's especially comical. And watching it from the perspective of a woman who comes from a foreign Black family that's from another country in the Black diaspora who currently lives here in the United States, I think especially it's hilarious. Foreigners who come to this country and bring all their anti-Blackness and try to absorb the racism of the white supremacist structure around or that exists in America because they think maybe, put them on one rung higher than Black American people, you will fuck around and find out exactly how America operates. Because if there is one thing America dislikes more than a Black American person, is a foreign person who does not speak English. If there's one thing that American will distrust more than a Black American person who at least speaks English, is a foreigner, again, who does not speak English and who comes from a faraway land that is stereotyped as always being at war or in conflict or in poverty. Americans will close ranks real fucking quick. Black Americans and white Americans will close ranks on you so quick if you start talking out the side of your neck. And I need foreigners to learn that real quick. Accept that. And furthermore, to everyone saying, oh, well, Kamala is just as bad a Zionist as Trump. First of all, Trump is the one who instituted the Muslim ban. Did we forget that? Has that escaped us? That was just like recent memory. Do we not remember that? One. And two, with someone like Kamala in power, we can at least have a better chance, a better opportunity at having a ceasefire in place, at having women's rights restored, at having voting rights permanently protected, at having, affirmative action reinstated. What do you think Trump will do if he ever sees presidential power again? Exactly what do you think he will do, especially to brown people from the Middle East currently living in the United States? What do you think he will do? Quickly. Yes, Black Americans in particular are going to prioritize their own survival because we live here in America and we're Black in America. So yes, we're going to prioritize our domestic affairs because if y'all want our voices and our support so fucking much, how are we supposed to fight and protest and boycott on behalf of you if someone like Trump is in power and has us back in chains? How exactly is that supposed to happen? And again, don't respond with, well, this is what the right wants. They want this division. They want this, or, this is in a perfect world, how it should be. No. We're not talking about shoulda, coulda, woulda. We're not talking about hypotheticals. This is real life right here, right now. And one thing foreign people eventually learn after so long is that here in America, white society and the overarching society will close ranks. They will put all racial differences aside. They will put behind the history of enslavement, Jim Crow, genocide against Native Americans. They will put all of that aside and close ranks when it comes to foreign individuals. They will do that so fucking quick, it'll leave your head spinning. And last but not least, on this lovely rant that I am currently ranting about your favorite bad bitch with a law degree complaining and doing what I do best, whining. Okay. Last but not fucking least, please do not forget that if it were not for the civil rights movement championed by Black American people, foreigners who come here to the United States will not enjoy the rights, the privileges, and the liberties that we can happily sing about now, without the advocacy and without the support of Black American people. The civil rights movement reformed all of the immigration laws in the United States so that the rest of us could come here and enjoy the same thing that Black Americans should have been able to enjoy as a result of being enslaved and building this country from the ground up. So if you want to talk mess and if you want to be anti-Black and racist, trying to catch yourself or call yourself white, well, at least I'm not Black, you will find out very quickly just how quickly this entire American system, politics, how they will redistrict stuff, they will close ranks on you so fucking quick. And I'm speaking from experience as a foreigner myself.
So I came about this video from this beautiful woman talking about how everybody look down on the Black people and then they run to them when they are in need, which you all know, right? They call them ghetto people. They call them loud. But when they need help, they go back to the so-called ghetto people and the loud people seeking for help. At this point in time, I am happy to announce that the Black people are still resting. They are still resting. Anyways, stay glued and let's get into the videos, and credit belongs to the original creators of the contents of all the videos I'm using here today. Don't go anywhere, guys.
Internet activists fuck around and find out what happens when Black American people withdraw their support. Stitching my own video because a bad bitch is never wrong. A bad bitch is never wrong. I'm like the fucking Chicago Bulls in the 1996 season. I'm on a run. If you have the attention span that I have, basically what I said in that video is that foreign people of color who immigrate to America and catch themselves trying to be wannabe white supremacists and cock-sucking masses 3-inch pink dick thinking that it's doing something for them, fuck around and find out what happens when Black American people withdraw their support for your cause. And in the wake of the 2024 US presidential election results, I'm watching that happen in live time. And I'm sorry, I'm enjoying it. I'm eating it up. Black American people who haven't purchased Starbucks or McDonald's in over a year are basically crashing the mobile apps for both of those franchises right now with how much they're repurchasing those items in the wake of the exit polls of who did and did not vote for Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. The Starbucks app crashed, I think, because so many people were just using it out of nowhere. Like all at once, it crashed. You see what happens? You see? And please do not come in my comments with your bullshit about this is not the time for that and you guys were never there for us anyway and we all need to come together now because now this really impacts all of us. The time to come together was in that motherfucking voting booth, little bitch. That was the time to come together. And you didn't want to do that because Kamala Harris is black and is also a woman. Okay? The time to come together was when Kamala Harris, after meeting with Netanyahu, released a press statement stating that the loss of life in Palestine and in Gaza is completely and utterly unacceptable. And we are negotiating for a ceasefire and bucking up against even what Biden himself said he would do. That was the time to come together for that candidate. Instead, you either voted for stupid ass Jill Stein, who took your vote and your money and ran off into the sunset, or you voted for Trump, who in his first campaign, post-election speech, is saying the first thing he's going to do is round up Hamas supporters. You know that means you, right? Do you know that means you? Do you know you have 30 minutes? A bad bitch is never wrong. A bad bitch with a good synthetic beauty supply helmet wig is never wrong. And I am that bad bitch on today. Praise God. Also, fuck them ugly ass, stupid ass, fugazi ass, jabroni ass, blue bracelets of solidarity. That's that guilt eating you up, isn't it? No, fuck them blue bracelets. Shove it up your ass so far that it comes out your fucking throat. Fuck that. How about, forget the blue bracelet. Can you write me a check with some green money? Can you do that? That would be far more useful and helpful in the face of what is going to be some really costly tariffs and increased taxes on our goods and things like that. Can you do that instead? If not, keep your stupid ass blue bracelet. For all I know, that could just mean that you're quietly supporting Blue Lives Matter. Shut up. We needed the support in the booth. And in the booth, the only people who got active were black people and surprisingly Jewish people. So shout out to Jewish people also as well. It bears repeating, and foreign people who come to America refuse to accept this fact. Black people and white people will be at each other's throats all the live long day until a foreign non-English speaking person walks in the room, and then all that shit goes out the fucking window. All of it. I promise you. As a foreign-born person myself, who is now a naturalized citizen, who was born to people who have been in America lawfully all these years, just in case anyone is looking for me. My father was a U.S. citizen. My mom was a lawful permanent resident prior to becoming a U.S. citizen. I used to go suck your ass, mother. But as a foreigner myself, I've seen it firsthand and I've experienced it firsthand. Black and white people in this country have an understanding of one another. They have a delicate equilibrium with one another, okay? And again, at each other's throats, at each other's necks, threatening this, that, and the next until a non-English speaking foreign person walks in the room. And if you don't believe me, if you dare to disagree with a bad bitch with a law degree in her helmet wig, I want you to take a long look back at how the country came together in the wake of the September 11th terrorist attacks. 9/11 really set some shit off for the entire world, Americans in particular, okay? Black and white people, prior to September 11th, 2001, black and white people were at each other's throats over the George Bush election, the election between Bush and Gore and those missing Florida ballots, okay? I was a kid in elementary school, but I remember this, and I'm 32 years old now, so I know some of my fellow slightly older millennials definitely remember this for sure. Black and white people were at each other's throats up until the September 11th attacks happened. And you know what happened? We closed ranks. Or excuse me, black American people and white American people closed ranks so fucking quickly. Oh my God. And that's exactly what's happening now. So fucking around and finding out is something I do not recommend for everyone because not everyone can handle it. Black American people and people of African descent in general are accustomed to living under white supremacy and colonialism and having to survive nonetheless and eke out a little itty bitty tiny whiff of a life. We're accustomed to that. The rest of y'all, I don't know what you guys are going to do, but we'll be fine. Okay, you guys can go take them blue bracelets and all them marches and protests and stuff. I ain't doing it. Because when it came down to it, when it really mattered was in that voting booth. I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to hear about how they're so bad and how both parties were bad. Excuses, 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 excuses. So tell me how bad Trump is now compared to Harris and Biden. Tell me quickly. And that's another thing. You infighting, and that's the last thing I'm going to say about this today. You infighting liberals and infighting leftists and shit like that. You have a very skewed perception of the world. This is where your ivory towered theory and rhetoric falls by the wayside. Because the other side, our enemies, you know what they unite on? Hate and bigotry, but they unite. The rest of us over here have this false perception that everything in the world is supposed to be perfect, so that when we are trying to implement certain tasks and statutes and legislations, we have to have unanimous consensus. It has to be done perfectly, flawlessly. Our elected officials, our notable figures can be without flaw of any kind. Our legislation and our policies have to be without any flaw of any kind, are not allowed to have nuance, and are not allowed to take into account historical context, modern day context, gender and race context. We're not allowed to do those things. And that is how we failed. Too much infighting, too much disagreement. And the other side, by comparison, looks like the staid, not conservative necessarily, but predictable and stable option. Because at least they agree on their hate and bigotry. What exactly do Democrats agree on? I personally think it's time for some new Democratic leadership. As David Hogg on Twitter said, we have corporate oligarchy masquerading as a party. I personally think we need to do away with some of these East Coast, West Coast Democrats who are caught up in theory and liberalism and never ever listen to their base. They always shit on their base in every single way possible. And we need to start putting people at the top who are like from the heartland of America. Like, I live in the Midwest, and I live in the Rust Belt that these liberals call the Midwest. We need to start putting more people like us at the top and in those leadership positions so we can become the establishment class. Because y'all ivory towered, Ivy League attending, born into generational intellectuals and shit. You may not be born into generational wealth, but they were born into generational intellectuals. Y'all argue too much. Things have to be far too perfect. Kamala was the perfect candidate. Jesus was perfect. And you know what they did to his ass? Think! But my point still stands. Foreign people of color coming to America, fuck around and find out exactly what the fuck happens when Black American people tell you to go fuck yourself. And now look at us.
What do y'all mean by this? Voting for Kamala wouldn't have ended ICE and would have only delayed what we are seeing with this administration. So do you think that Kamala would have sent thousands of people to a prison in El Salvador, a country they are not from, to be tortured and sexually abused? Not just El Salvador. This administration has sent immigrants to third countries they've never been to in their lives. These are real harms that people are facing. You think that Kamala would have done that? You think that Kamala would have done an illegal airstrike on Venezuela? Like, I want for y'all to really explain what you mean by this. Because it really does come across as though you do not care about the people who are actually being harmed by this administration. Oh, well, Kamala, this is just delaying the inevitable. Would you seriously say that with a straight face to the men who came here to seek asylum and were in return sent to a prison in El Salvador to be sexually assaulted? Would you tell them that with a straight face? Oh, well, I know that the current administration did that to you, but if we had voted for the other lady, it really just would have delayed the inevitable. Like, do y'all think when you say things like this?
These are eye-opening videos. Sincerely, these are eye-opening videos because you guys all know what has been happening since 2024 up until now. I hear Latinos say, we have always helped. How many times have you come out to help the Blacks? Yeah, how many times? It is only when you need help you run to the Black people. Only when you need help. Only when you have hit the rock bottom. That's when you run to the Black people. You have never spoken up to support the Blacks because you want to be in the good books. In the books of the good people. You have never spoken up to support the Blacks. Oh, I love what the First Lady said. What the First Lady spoke about, She ate it and left no crumbs. Sincerely, she ate it. Anyways, guys, I'll shut up for now and read your comments down below. Please, I'll be looking out for your comments. I would love to read your comments. What are your views? What do you guys think? Please drop your comments down below and I'll be reading your comments, okay? As always, I give credit to all the original creators of the videos I have used here today. Thank you so much, guys. If you're seeing this beautiful face for the very first time, please subscribe to my channel and I would always appreciate you guys for all the support. Have an amazing day, guys. Cheers.